We back, baby. Welcome to the Truth, episode 75 in the building. We have a very special guest today. Tom Stakes in the house. You know, Eagles fan, Eagles fanatic. We're going to definitely chop it up about everything Philadelphia. But I'm glad to see there are still some people out there that give respect to
everybody, man. And welcome to the very first episode of The Truth, where not all Eagle fans agree on everything, and this is definitely the spot where this shit about to go down.
Lock in, gotta stay locked in, goggin. Gotta ball out like Robin. Straight to the top, I'm all in. Ordinary's like a toxin. I don't wanna be like Robin. I just wanna lead, no watching. Fuck caution, I ain't gonna be common. I got the confidence, I got mine and shit like I'm the baddest bitch in the club. I'm here for dominance, I'm being honest, that's what I want. I'll never give up, I want the whole place sold out. My name in every mouth, you know I'm after this shit. Till the world say my motherfucking name. Say my name. Say my motherfucking name. Say my, you know I'm after this shit. Till the world say my motherfucking name. Say my name. Say my motherfucking name. Say my, you know I'm after this shit. Till the world say my motherfucking name.
Driven by fire, driven by fear, never get tired, no I'm still here. Felt in the cracks, now I'm shifting gears. 10 years in, my moments here. Waiting my turn, now I'm hot in demand. Slept on a kid, but I had bigger plans. Stayed low-key, but I still hit drive. Give me one shot and I'm coming no louder. Next on the left, second taste it. Gunning for the top, no limitations. From the basement, no hesitation. Flipping on my L's with straight motivation. Ain't no quitter, I'm built for the grind. Pressure makes.
What is up? What is up, everybody? It's Birdgang 31 in the building. JC will be with us shortly. He's running a little late from work, but I got my guy Tom in the building. How you doing today, my guy?
What's going on, bro? Doing well. Appreciate you having me on, and yeah, can't wait for this season, and can't wait to just talk about it for the next month or so while we wait for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good season, man. I feel really good about this team. I feel like repeats in the air, my guy. I hate saying it, and like Mylotta and Landon and them don't like saying repeat, but I'm gonna say it. I'm a fan. I'm gonna say it. We about to repeat up in here for sure, but we're gonna break this team down tonight. Shout out to everybody in there. Hit that like, hit that subscribe on the way in. Make sure you guys go follow Tom over there on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? He's always dropping Eagle jewels every single day, man. I mean, that's why I love, checking out your page. I love, that when I follow you, and I love your takes on all the Eagles news that you come out with. You be shutting people down, bringing out facts, man. Like, how you like it, man? Tell everybody about your little Twitter thing you got going on there.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking that. And just, I get on a lot of these and no one really asks about, me or how things came to be. But yeah, I really wanted to pursue like a sports journalism, my whole life as a kid, everything. I wanted to pursue that lane of sports journalism. And so that's why I started my Twitter. I was writing I had a blog that I was writing, and I wrote articles for other, other publications, little things here and there. And then I kind of realized I just loved like being myself and being like a fan and bringing like the fan experience on the internet. And I love going to games. I grew up going to games. So I think people just really like it because, I'm like a relatable guy and a real Eagles fan. And it's not, I'm not trying to be something I'm not. I'm just, doing it for the love and passion of the team. And, I can talk a little ball too, like you said. So let's go.
Yeah, man. Hey, I know one of the biggest topics we talk about is our boy Jalen freaking Hurts.
Yes,
Jalen Hurts, my guy. How you feeling about Jalen, man? Give me some takes on him right now.
I mean, shoot, I think it's really disingenuous for a lot of these fans to talk about a quarterback's job in the NFL as easy, no matter what players he has around him. Obviously, you want greatness around you. I'm going to quote Nick Sirianni, you can't be great without the greatness of others, and that applies to every single quarterback in the league. So I think it's disingenuous to say the job is easy. I mean, he lost offensive coordinator after offensive coordinator each year. He lost Jason Kelsey up front, so he's had to learn more checks at the line calling and just knowing how to handle and manage the down-to-down craziness that is the NFL. I mean, it's a tough league. This is not Pee-wee football here we're talking about. We're not even talking about college. We're talking about the best of the best, and that comes down to mentally, physically, everything. And the way he's performed over the last several years, I don't think there should be many doubts about what he can do, especially when the lights get brightest. So I think it's disingenuous for people to be saying, his job is easy and things like that. It's just, to me, it's not real football talk. And, I don't care if somebody doesn't think he's elite, like whatever label, like it doesn't matter to me. Like at the end of the day, you watch the games, you talk football. You don't have to get into who's elite, who's not, this and that. Just watch what they all do and compare, that to each other, So I think what he does for our team isn't easy. He's a very unique player and person. And I think playing in Philadelphia and handling adversity rolls into that as well. And I think he's the perfect quarterback for our team because of all that. So, and to say his job is easy is absolutely the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
It's just lazy takes, I take it. There's a bunch of lazy takes. I'm going to say, he didn't lead the league in passing, so he's not the best. It's just little easy things to go about saying, like they don't realize, like you said, the leadership, they always eliminate his rushing. Like, I don't know why they do that. Like, they act like that does not exist.
Are you not allowed to move the ball with your legs? Like, I don't get it. If you throw the ball 4 yards or you run the ball 4 yards, it's a 4-yard gain. So, like, what are we talking about here? Like, it doesn't make sense. That is a real quarterback skill, especially nowadays. 2025, we're talking about mobility not mattering for quarterbacks. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and then even the accuracy, like even a lot of people, I like to tell people, even a lot of people last year, down season, whatever, he says, but if you look at a lot of those games, what I'm saying, where he didn't have 300 yards passing, but the passes he did through were accurate, timing, perfect times of the game to take leads, to put us up. It was all like crucial throws that he was making at that time, and people just they underestimate that because he's not putting the 400 or 500 yards up a game. But it's just crazy. Look at this. You got Jalen Hurts here, 76. He leads, QBR in one-score games. You know what I'm saying? That's just like this is one of the many things that he does great. You know what I'm saying? Like, 52 and 23. You know what I'm saying? Like these are things that you cannot, just discredit. The guy's accurate. I think he led the league in percentage in terms of from inside the pocket this year. It's just things that he do that I feel like people just like to brush that to the side. You know what I'm saying? And be like, oh, well, he didn't have 4,000 yards passing, or he didn't have 40 touchdowns passing, 30 touchdowns passing. So that must not make him a great quarterback, man. Like, it's quite funny. It's quite hilarious. I really feel about that.
Yeah. And to be honest, like you just hit the nail on the head there. You're talking more about what he's doing, not how much he's doing it. So when you talk about a quarterback, you want to talk about qualitative traits, not quantitative metrics. Quantitative metrics are just, 4,000 yards so does that mean more is better? No, that's apples to oranges. You can't compare more to better. So if you talked about who threw the ball the most and who threw the most yards and who was in circumstances where they needed to throw and threw the most yards, that's a different conversation than who is the best, because best refers to the quality of the performances. So I made a comparison before on Twitter where I said, if somebody had 100 Toyota Camrys and then another guy had 5 Lamborghinis, would you say that the better car collection is the one that there are more cars, or the more quality cars, but there's less of them? So that's really what I look at is the quality of the performances. And like you said, when he makes the throws, when the accuracy in which he throws, with the decision making that he displays in big games, those things are quality trait. That's all quality stuff. I don't care if he doesn't throw for 300 yards, because at the end of the day, if you throw for 300 yards or not, there's going to be a throw in the fourth quarter of a big game that you need to make. I don't care if you have 700 yards passing. What if you need to get 5 yards at the end of the game with the game on the line? You need to make a 5-yard play. Who are you taking to make that play? Because I've seen Jalen Hurts make those plays all the time. He makes plays that alter the outcome of games, and everybody sees blowouts and big passing performances. And in reality, the NFL is decided by a couple plays here and there, usually by one possession, usually close games. That's why I get on Nick Sirianni for passing up on field goals all the time, but that's another story. one score, and you have the opportunity to score, or you have the opportunity to convert a big play. Those are the plays you win and lose games on. Blowouts and all that happens, obviously, but you have to expect a tight game because it's an NFL game. And when you're watching it, as a fan, it always feels closer than it is. So Jalen making those plays, especially in the games he has, that is a trait that you cannot quantify with stats on a sheet. You have to watch and see what happens in the game. And I'm convinced that people aren't watching and they're not emotionally attached to the Eagles. So they look at it with a negative lens where we're like, we want them to win. And we see this guy making these plays and we're like, how are people not seeing this? It's because they don't want to. They don't care. They're just going to look at the stats, look at the box scores and say he didn't play well if he doesn't throw for a certain amount of yards. But when you watch the game, you can see the traits that he has that are not measured by numbers. They're measured by evaluating him.
Yeah, and then even like for those that want, to talk about the yards, just like and how many times to throw the football. It's like I love this when it came out. It's like quarterbacks throwing the ball 30 plus times. Look at this record.
Yep, we can win
21-9. So when he does throw the ball 30 times, it's not like he just sucks at it. It's not like he's not winning football games at it. He can do that too. He just lets you know he does what it takes to win the game. If he needs to go throw the ball, he's going to go throw the ball. If he needs to run the ball, he's going to run the ball. If he needs to do both, he's going to do a combination of both. I remember games like even like his first year where it was just like he had like 100 and something yards rushing, 119 yards passing, but he had like 5 touchdowns, like 4 touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? Like he still scored touchdowns. And that's at the end of the game, that's what you do on offense. You score touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy out there how they really try to spin the narrative to fit their situation. He's beaten all the GOATs, all the best quarterbacks that you like to put ahead of him. He's beaten all of them head to head. Head to head. He beat Patty Mahomes twice now in a row. People forget the year before we beat him too. We didn't go to Super Bowl against him, but we beat him in the regular season that year. Yep. And then he outplayed him in the Super Bowl. So basically, that's 3 times outplaying Patty Mahomes in the game against to go. We beat Lamar Jackson. We beat Burrow. We beat Josh Allen. I think he's 14-1 or something like that against AFC opponents. For those who but if you put him in the AFC, he won't win no football games. You know what I'm saying? So he's a winner. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why he got one of these. He got one of these. Look at that thing, man. It was so nice. How did you feel about the first time you seen these Super Bowl rings, man? These things are crazy.
Yeah, at first, I think I said it on Twitter. I said to somebody that I don't really get hyped up about this stuff usually. Even when it was our ring, I was like, oh, it was nice, 2017. But this ring with the pop out wings, oh man, and that engraving and everything it has on it,
that's game changer right there. The pop out wings, I think, is game changer.
Yeah,
it's now you don't win from normal Super Bowl rings that everybody else have to your own custom first time ever type ring. That's sick as hell, man. I cannot wait. I don't know if the replicas are out yet, but I want to go grab me one. You know what I'm saying? I got the first one. I need to give me a replica ring with a pop. You gonna get you one? Pop out, and I'm gonna be on this show all the time. Ding, ding, ding.
I think that's what all the guys. AJ was loving that, flexing that pop out wings and showing the ring on his hand. Man, I couldn't have been happier for the guys. But I mean, you mentioned it earlier in the show. When we started out, they're not using the word repeat. They're not thinking about it like that, and that's the mindset. As fans, we have to snap back into that too eventually and get focused back in. So I'm excited.
These are some things. Watch our players, man, for a second. I want everybody to watch our player. This is Jalen Hurts. Did you realize he has not even put the ring on? He hasn't put the ring on, and this is what he said about it.
Photos that we've seen from the event, I haven't seen any of you actually wearing the ring itself. Did you eventually get to put it on? Why or why not?
Yeah, I've moved on. Moved on to the new year. It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. I'm not putting on a ring because we're in a whole new year. Maybe if the ceremony didn't get postponed, he would have put the ring on. But since we are now here in training camp, the man is not putting on a ring. Man, what kind of leader is that, man? How do you feel about him saying that? That's crazy.
Just another one of those things you can't measure by anything on a stat sheet. You see a video of Dak Prescott today leading how he leads, being one of the guys riding around on some stick with Happy Gilmore after making a putt. And that's his leadership style. He's joking around. He's a lovable guy. Everyone likes him. It's cool. But Jalen Hurts has a different kind of mindset, man. It's you can't teach it. His leadership style is an alpha, locked in, dialed in, similar to that of a Michael Jordan or a Tom Brady or even a Pat Mahomes. I remember when he was coming out in the draft, they said that they did studies on his brain, and it was similar to Pat Mahomes and how they do these brain studies. It might sound crazy, but that was a real. And I remember it was just brushed under the rug at the time because it's oh yeah, I'm sure this guy Jalen Hurts, yeah, whatever. Everyone doubted him, and that's why they still doubt him. But they saw something in him mentally that you cannot measure on a stat sheet, and his leadership style is just out of this world. It's insane.
And that's Jalen for it. But then you got AJ.
No, it ain't easy.
It ain't easy, but we gotta go get another one. And then we did talk about our boy Landon. Where's Landon at?
It's very simple, right? Every team has a 1-year expiration. 2024 Philadelphia Eagles were a great team. That team no longer exists, right? It's in the history books. There's guys still here, but that team is no longer together. It's 2025 Philadelphia Eagles. Right now, we have accomplished nothing. We are 0-0, and we're here to work.
We're here to work. I just watched that today. I was catching up on some press conferences, and man, I love Landon. He's become the leader I thought he was going to be.
Facts. Then what I noticed was last year was, I knew we were going to win a Super Bowl just from the mentality of the team. I said this before in previous podcasts where it's like you just seen the focus on these guys. Like they're not looking too far ahead. They're taking it day by day, play by play. And I love the way Nick Sirianni got these guys dialed in. You know what I'm saying? Play by play. We're not looking at the future, what's going to happen. We're going to take it game by game and play our best and do our best every single week. And that was the difference. I feel like the Chiefs came in, we're about to 3P, we're about to do this, we're about to do that. And the Eagles just like, we're here to play football. Simple, sweet. They weren't getting all flashy with it. They're just like, hey, you see them on the podium together, two different teams, Chiefs guys all happy, Eagles guys just sitting there, no smiles on their face, just chilling. You know what I'm saying? Like we got something to do right here. And I like how they carried that over because I think that was the difference from going to the Super Bowl the first time and now. You know what I'm saying? Like now they came back and they're like, squash all that. You heard them? I'm not wearing the ring yet. I know because now we're in a new season. Everybody's focused. Hey, we're not repeating again. We're staying to the task, task is hands, and that's winning a Super Bowl for the 2025 season, man. Like that's something that it's like, I think people take it for granted, man, just having that kind of mentality, like for your whole team to have it. It's crazy. You're lucky if you get one or two players on your team to do it, but it seems like all these guys are focused on winning that. Another ring is damn focused on the task at hand.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and there's no guarantees. Like AJ said, it's hard. That's the number one thing I'd tell anybody who is just starting out with football. I'd say it's really difficult. You can't think anything's guaranteed just because the players on a team. Everyone talks about this super team thing. I mean, we thought we had a super team in 2022, right? And we lost the Super Bowl. So nothing's guaranteed. Last year we had that, or 2023 we had that collapse, right? We came into 2024 and things were a little shaky. We didn't have a lot of confidence in the team. And all Eagles fans were kind of holding our breath. Is this the team? Like, is this just going to be every year? Are we really fool's gold? Was 2022 a fluke? Was adding Saquon the wrong move? Whatever the case was. And coming out of that bye week, they turned it on. And I think coming into this year, they're hungry and they have that mentality. But I think the confidence level with the fan base and even the team might be a little bit different coming off a Super Bowl, and just knowing, how much adversity they fought through. That it only gets going up from here. So nothing's guaranteed. It's hard, but I think coming into this year, they're going to be really ready to roll.
Well, we talk about our quarterback. Let's go to our running back, Saquon Barkley. How do you feel about that season? All-time leading rusher, including playoffs of all time. He could have got the all-time. People don't even realize another thing about last year, too, in terms of stats and whatnot. How many games, did your team, sit players in the fourth quarter, sit players in the third quarter? Our team, we had 6 games last year where players didn't play the fourth, or barely played the fourth, and that's not normal for a season to happen, to have 6 games like that. You got Saquon sitting out games, what I'm saying? Think if he didn't sit out any games or we didn't sit no players out in the fourth quarter all the game, how many yards they really had. Jalen would have more passing yards, obviously. Saquon would have more rushing yards, obviously. Everybody's stats would have been cushioned up a little bit more. But since we're that type of team and want to keep everybody healthy, that we sat these players, man. I think people don't take that into consideration when they look at the overall offense last year. But how do you feel about Saquon? And do you think Saquon can repeat, what he did last year?
I think that the goal is going to be to keep Saquon fresh for the playoffs. And I know that last year was probably taxing. I know he can handle it. He's in the prime of his career right now, and I think he feels great. But I just think the usage might be a little more cautious, and I think they can win games playing a little bit more risky unlike they were able to do early last year when they went more to a style of play where it was kind of like 10 yards at a time, run the ball, play really balanced. And I think they might, and they're not going to say this. They're going to say we're going to do what's going to win and this and that. And there's going to be games where Saquon will have, his 20, 25 touches, 25 carries, things like that. But I do think that, they're going to come out and open this thing up a little bit more in the passing game. They're going to use Jalen Hurts a little bit as a runner as well, like they usually do. And so I think and then I think Will Shipley as well. And if A.J. Dillon can stay healthy and make this team, I think they'll be used as well. Saquon always praises Will Shipley, how smart he is. And I see a big year for him as a spell back. But nonetheless, I think Saquon, I don't think he repeats 2,000 yards. I say all that to say that. But I think a big year for him, 1,500, like 10 to 12 touchdowns. I mean, he's an elite running back. We have an elite offense. He's going to produce.
Nice. What's up, JC? How you doing, my guy?
What's up, man? Hey, long day. Hey, what's up, Tom?
What's going on, dude? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I've been hearing y'all, man. Hey, it's some good conversation, man, on point about everything. Like, look, this year right now, I'm not worrying about nobody, man. Like, I see people on Twitter just going back and forth. Look, my mental health is important. I ain't got time. I don't have time to entertain people, man. The proof is in the pudding. Super Bowl MVP. Numbers to back it up. I mean, like 4-year starter, twice in the Super Bowl, never miss a playoff. I mean, people don't see that, man. All they seeing is A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith in our roster. Look, you can have all the superstars you want. Man, there's plenty of around the league, right? Sports period, right? Just stacked basketball team, baseball teams. Right. But you got to have a coach. They get everybody on board. And you got to have that leader on the field that don't care about nobody's ego, but keeping the main thing, which is Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly put. Honestly, they the only reason they say stuff about a stacked roster is so they can mount pressure on him. And if they lose, he says, "Oh, they lost with a stacked team." And if they win, they can say, "Oh, it's because he had a stacked team." So that's it's just hedging. That's all they're doing with that. And you're right. There's stacked teams that lose. Like I talked about that on Twitter too. There's plenty of stacked teams. Everyone's talented in these leagues. But you're right. It's coaching quarterback league. You need that. That's never been plug and play. And it's insane that Sirianni and Jalen Hurts being so wrong. Everyone was so wrong about them that they're changing. Oh, well, they're just carried by a roster. No, that's never been how we talk about the sport. It's never been how we talk about the sport. So please stop that. You know what I mean?
It is different too. It's not like, we're just signing like 5-6 free agents that are just superstar players. These are homegrown drafted players. Every team passed on all these players on our team. You know what I'm saying? A lot of teams passed on all these players on our team. So for you to say it's a stacked roster, it's bullshit. Because like every team, your team, whoever your team is, whether it's the Cowgirls, Commanders, Patriots, Colts, whatever you are, your team had opportunities to draft the Quinyon Mitchell. Cooper DeJean. Your team had, Nolan Smith. 13 other teams, I think it was, had a chance to draft Nolan Smith. Even Jalen Carter fell to what, 10 or something like that. There's teams that were able to draft these guys, and they didn't draft them. So you can't say now, we just got the super team. We draft well, and when we drafted half of these players, they didn't think they were going to be the players that they are now.
Right. And I even take it a step further than that into the Jalen Hurts conversation and say, when everybody wanted us to trade all our assets to get a new quarterback, we said, no, we're going to keep all our assets and we're going to keep the quarterback we have. And we're going to use those assets to build around him. So if it's a super team, it's partly because Jalen Hurts is the guy they believed in and they were able to use what they had to build around him and create that really strong team. If you remember, they drafted Devontae Smith and then they traded for A.J. Brown back-to-back years. They drafted Landon Dickerson in the second round and Cam Jurgens in the second round in back-to-back years. Those are picks we wouldn't have had if you go trade for a Russell Wilson. So if we're up to a lot of these people that are crying super team, this team wouldn't exist if it were up to them because they would have traded all of our picks to get a new quarterback, and it would have been Justin Fields or Zach Wilson or some Trey Lance or whoever was in that draft class in 21, or they would have traded for Watson or Russell Wilson in 22, and this whole thing wouldn't exist. So crying super team is just another cop-out.
Yeah, and then even good team, like you said before, every team. Like people act like Patty Mahomes when he first won his Super Bowls. Didn't he have Tyreek Hill?
Kelsey, Andy Reid, like
Kelsey. Reed,
Right.
running backs, Pacheco, what I'm saying? Like they had talent too.
Refs,
They got the best
they had a lot of help.
defense.
Kareem Hunt,
he's back. You know what I'm saying? They had everybody went Super Bowl, got good players. There's not a Super Bowl team that's out there that went into the Super Bowl with scrubs and just won.
Right.
And people might not like Eli Manning and the Giants when they won, but guess what? That defense was stacked.
They played like that. Yeah,
that defense was super stacked.
Right.
Back in those days. So it's just like, come on, guys. Like, stop trying to spin narratives on these guys, But let's get to the next position of battle here. How you feeling about a receiver group? How do you think? Do you think? Listen, I wanted to ask this question too for people too. AJ Brown, best receiver in football, arguably. Smitty, he doesn't get ranked or anything, but he's one of the best receivers in football, regardless of what you think about it. Do you think this could be a year where it could be the Smitty year? You think about everybody else got the flowers already. AJ's gotten that year where he's like, a Pro Bowler, everything like that, all pro. Jalen Hurts got this year, Saquon just got this year. You think this could be a year where Smitty comes up and does it this year?
I like that theory. I'll hear JC and then I'll go second.
I don't think so, man. I just think the way this offense is, the way Jalen Hurts is, look, he's not going to force feed not one player, right? I mean, this team is well balanced where you don't have to focus on a Smitty or AJ Brown, right? Who's ever open, right? I know sometimes AJ Brown, he get frustrated getting target 4 times, but we win the game, right? I mean, the main thing is winning. And I understand that, everybody want to live up to their, the pay and the superstar status, but it's a team game. So Smitty, I think more is a Dallas Goedert year, if anything. When healthy, like that is Jalen Hurts' favorite target when healthy, because he's always seemed to be open in the middle. And then towards last season, you saw, right, going into the playoffs, how Kellen Moore, he was designing plays for Dallas Goedert, right? So now if our OC could, just take that a little bit farther, just start using him more, a lot of people is going to be open. But I think Smitty, a good stat line. He definitely going to go over 1,000 yards. Last year, he missed like 4 games, I believe, and still was 100 something short of 1K. AJ Brown. I mean, all these guys are going to eat, right? So you can't focus on one particular person. And that's what makes the Philadelphia Eagles a very dangerous team. And Jahan Dotson, Marshall. I mean, Anaya Smith. Like, we got a whole bunch of guys that came and get on the field because we're so well balanced. And so it is. So I just think overall it's going to be, kind of same offense, but just passing a little bit more. Instead of, 2,900 yards, I see 3,500 yards, right? Because teams are going to start playing the box a little bit, stacked, and it's just going to spread the love around.
Yeah, I agree that we don't really force anyone the ball, but I could see them getting back to that 1,000 yard receivers. So having AJ and Smitty both go over 1,000. If everyone's healthy, that usually was the default in 22 and 23. And then it was crazy because it seemed like in 24 with Kellen Moore coming in, it was almost like we had to kind of make an adjustment and, kind of do things a different way. I feel like with Kevin Patullo coming into this position, it brings back more like familiarity. Like he's been on our staff for a long time. And I think there'll be a lot of things that, I don't think the play calling or the philosophy of what they're trying to do is necessarily going to change. I just think that their confidence is going to be a little different. They're going to be a little more loose. They're going to open it up a little more. And I think that, like I said, I said this all already, but I think overcoming adversity really can bring a new confidence out in a group of guys. And I think that with everybody, everybody eats, like JC said, we're throwing to Smitty, we're throwing to AJ sometimes. Having all these weapons, you have to have a game where you get 4 targets and you're not really involved because somebody else is eating. So I think they're really worried about that. And I think it'll all just, everyone healthy, it'll play out itself and everyone will have a really good year, but no one's going to have a great year, no pass catcher at least.
I think the surprise pass catcher is going to be Jahan Dotson this year.
I think
he came in, late last year. He had the whole off season, and you hear him talking, about, having a full off season and it was kind of interesting. He was on the Philly special show. Shout out to my guy. He said,
How much of a difference do you think that plays a factor?
Oh my gosh. Like you have no idea.
Yeah.
Like this is my first training camp with the Eagles. And it's crazy to think about that being said because I spent the entire 18 weeks with the Eagles last year. So it's awesome. I'm super excited for it. OTAs went great. It was a great chance for me to build my relationship, build my trust with Jalen, as I did that during the season last year. But it was tough. It was definitely a challenge last year for sure. Being that I came in about 6 days before we were heading to Brazil, but it was something that I definitely I wouldn't change it. It was a special journey that I got to embark on. And like everything happens for a reason. We were just talking about this the other day. I was actually talking to Kenny Pickett. I was down there in Ocean Township throwing with him yesterday, and we were talking about this. Like I wouldn't take any of it. I wouldn't change any of it. Honestly, because everything happens for a reason. I came out of this a Super Bowl champ, and it is awesome. But it is really cool to be able to spend an entire off season with the team that I'm going to be with, and getting to build the trust with the teammates and the quarterback. So I'm excited.
Heck yeah.
And another thing, right? Even if we don't use him as much, as a third wide receiver, why can't he return kicks, man? Like, why can't we find a way to get him on the field, right? To be a difference maker. Like, I understand AJ and Smitty is going to get, the 1 and 2, the first and second look, and then Goddard. But like, our kicking game needs to improve. Like, what I mean? We need a difference maker, and I really think that he could return kick for us. Like, I don't want to see no running back there returning kicks. Like, have a receiver with vision back there, like Jahan Dotson. Like, I mean, he's from Penn State. He return a couple kicks for the Commanders at that. So, I mean, look, we need to find a way to get all our every guy we have, every talent we have on the field some way or another.
Yeah, I think he's like, if you look, like we talked about, after Jalen got hurt last year, before that, I feel like he didn't want to throw the ball to him. He didn't trust him, But when he sat out those games, and even like the last game where we sat the starters in general, and he's seen McKee, and he's seen Pickett throw him the ball. He had a 100-yard game, and then like a 90-yard game right after that. He's a couple touchdowns there. He's seen that he is a playmaker, and I think that helped him inside. When he's seen it, it helped him understand, okay, I can't throw this guy the football. And after that, you see them, the first playoff game touchdown to Jahan Dotson. Super Bowl even, that should have been a touchdown, that nice beam on the sideline to him. And I think moving forward now, Jahan's learned the offense. He's going to be there, like you said, all training camp, all offseason. He's there with the team. I think this is going to be a bigger role. Like you said, he's not going to be – actually, I want to say it could be like – remember that year the Cowboys had Gallup have 1,000 yards receiving because they had – CeeDee Lamb and Coop, be their number 1 and number 2. And everybody was putting so much attention on them, where Gallup was able to have a lot of big plays here, big play splash here and there, to the point where he had 1,000 yards. It could be one of those years for Dawson. I'm not saying he's going to get 1,000 yards or not. I'm saying it could be a bigger year than what people think. It's not going to be like a 400 or 500 yard. I think it could be like a 600 to 800 yard season for, Dawson this year, if he is that guy that we think. Because like you said, he is a first-round pick. What I'm saying? He does have the talent to do it, and I expect him to do it this year with all the focus being on, Smitty, on AJ, on Goddard, on, Saquon. He is that guy that could definitely benefit from it.
Yeah, I think he's an X factor, kind of like a role player. And the issue with, predicting stats in this offense is that, we have a lot of weapons and we don't throw the ball. Or at least historically, we haven't thrown the ball as much to be able to get 1,000 yards for this guy, 1,000 yards, 800 yards. But I think that, it'll be quality, again, qualitative things that you measure him by, the big plays that he makes in games and situations. And I think it can be a lot like Nelson Aguilar, where when he kind of started out as a first-round pick and he didn't really turn out to be that talented to the level of a first-round pick. So it let a lot of people down. And he felt down on himself. But when you got Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith on the outside and moved him into the slot, he had easier matchups. There was less pressure on him, and I think that's what Jahan Dotson can experience in this offense. I'm not sure about statistically, just because, like I said, the philosophies of the team and who's going to get the ball might not change, but he'll be a really good role player with a really big chance, like Birdgang said, to absolutely eat off everybody else getting all that attention. So,
Let's move to the offensive line. Who do you think wins the right guard spot?
I say Tyler Steen.
Yeah, he keeps it.
I think so. What about you, JC?
You have to. Look, I understand the whole Beckham thing, a big old beast at right guard and a Stoutland wanted to, experience with him. But right now, it's Steen's job to lose, right? You can't go back-to-back years, getting your job taken from you, right? I mean, in that case, look, you might as well be on this possible, man. Because look, we have so much depth behind him. Like, it's crazy. It's his job to lose, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Kenyon Green is a guy that, we're another reclamation project similar to Mekhi Becton.
Yep.
And then you have Trevor Keegan, who they're talking highly, who they're speaking highly of right now. I was watching those press conferences, seeing what everyone's saying, and they were going through all of our depth. We have a couple guys on the line that can play center or guard. So
Matt Pryor back.
Yeah, Matt Pryor. I think Brett Toth is another guy they were talking about. And then Drew Kendall is like a pure center that we want to keep there. So he'll be probably the backup center to Cam Jurgens, especially next year. But this year coming up, I think you just have a lot of guys that you want reps for in back of them. And if Steen's slipping up and doesn't look like the best guy, Stoutland's going to identify that. And so, but it is his job to lose, man. And it would be a disappointment if he didn't win this year.
And I like Keegan too. Like, he does come from championship pedigree too. He's a rugged guy out there. I heard he's practicing some center too as well. I think that's what Landon said today. Yep. He practiced some center. But even last year, they were saying that he was really good. He's making his way into that rotation too, trying to, be like the number 2 guard, but he got hurt, and that kind of ended all that for him to come back healthy this year, without a guy like Beckham, because Beckham was a big guy. What I'm saying? At the end of the day, Eagles love monsters, and if you're a monster, you're pretty much locked into a spot. What I'm saying? That's why, Steen started, but soon we had Beckham, they're like, okay, this guy is way bigger than you. He's going to move some people out there. We're going to start this guy. And now with Steen being one of the smaller, he's not saying he's small at all, but being one of the smaller type guys, he's not a Becton type, offensive lineman, that leaves, room for, guys like Keegan. I heard that even some of these rookies are coming out to Hinton, and these guys are actually doing really good, at that guard spot too as well. So it's still, like you said, it's Steen's job to lose. But, I wouldn't care if, say, a guy like Keegan, because I do know he is a good football player. I like seeing him what he did in Michigan. He had a great, career there, and then he definitely got hurt last year. So I would love to see him, overcome the injury and overcome and show why, he should have been a first-round pick. What I'm saying? Because most times you get those, guards and stuff off of freaking championship teams, usually they're drafted a lot higher than what we drafted him, and let's see what he can do out there.
Iron sharpens iron, man. All these young players, you mentioned Hinton. I think we drafted Cameron Williams, I believe his name is, from Texas as well. I think Texas. I haven't looked at the draft list in a while, and I think there were undrafted. There were some undrafted free agents. I think they were. I think Williams was drafted, but there's a couple undrafted free agents as well. Look, bottom line is everyone's cries super team, but we're talking about it right now. It's iron sharpens iron. It's young players coming in, pushing veteran guys, pushing second-year guys, pushing third-year guys, and everyone's competing. And that's the only super team that there is a team that competes and gets better every year. And we talk about them first, and then 2 years from now they're going to be talking about how they're stacked because of the guys we talk about right now. So that's what it is.
That brings us into that defensive line, like how you said that 2 years from now. Cause watch my boy Nolan Smith, my guy. We got to talk about this guy.
You know what I'm asking?
Yeah.
What's the number?
I can't tell it out loud.
Yeah, all right. Then well, you can tell me in the break because I have a number in my head.
What's your number?
I'm thinking 10 to 12.
That's a good number.
Yeah.
But that's That's on the low side.
Okay,
Oh,
okay,
I like that.
I
I ain't
respect.
saying nothing else.
No,
I'm
you
just-
don't have to. You don't. And you know what? Now I have to let everybody in because everybody probably don't understand the conversation.
Don't let them in.
Okay,
don't let them in. Just keep it like that. Keep it like that.
All right, maybe I could speak without letting everyone in. What was your high? Was it 15?
15.
Well, that's the goal then. You got to beat Hugh Douglas. I mean,
You see,
you got to beat Hugh.
Pop.
Yeah.
They call me Pop. Yeah,
you got to beat the old man. I mean, you got to beat Hugh.
Oh no, man! I don't never.
I love that.
Yo,
What's your number?
15,
What do you think Nolan Smith's going to do this year?
look, if he gets 15, that's all pro status.
Hell yeah. I tweeted the other day 10.5 over or under. And a lot of people, said under, to be honest. People didn't even have him in the double digit. Well, I guess 10 would be under 10.5. But, some people are saying, it's going to be 7 or 8 because everybody kind of works off of each other and we run a rotation. But then there were some people saying, I could see him getting over 12. So it's tough to say, man, because everybody does eat on this D line. And but Nolan's one of my favorite players, and the way his mindset and the way he pursues on the edges and crushes the run too. It makes him the most complete D end we've had in a while, and his athleticism and everything. So it's not about a sack number to me. It's just like how productive he is, like every snap. He's just become one of my favorite players. And from being a raw developmental rookie, just like feels like just yesterday, because it literally was like just like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's coming into this year where we're talking about one of the better ends in the league after that playoff run he had, and the confidence he's showing and just his mindset. It's exciting.
I think I'll give him 10. I'll give him 10. I know he's saying like he's going to get. He sounds like he wants to get TJ Watt numbers. Like everybody want to compare me to TJ Watt. I'm gonna go out there and get 17 sacks, baby. We're gonna lead the league this year. I am that good, and I'm not saying that he cannot do it because I hope he does do it. But I think, like you said, like we got Jalen Carter. I want to see his sack numbers go up, and I know it's not all about sacks. Everybody, because they all stop the run pretty good. So that's the reason why I kind of focus more on the sacks. Because you can have last year we had great run defense, overall, and then like the sack number wasn't like the first Super Bowl year. You know what I'm saying? We had 5 guys in double-digit sacks, that year. You know what I'm saying? You had Fletch, you had Hargrave, you had Brandon Graham, all those guys, in that double-digit sack. So last year wasn't like that, but I think we can get back to something like that this year. With these guys developing. You got Jalen Carter. I wanted, because if everybody keeps saying Jalen's going to be the best guy, the best defensive, tackle in the game, then I want to see him get double-digit sacks. I'm not saying that what makes the best defensive tackle, but if you think about most of the best defensive tackles in history, they had double-digit sacks. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to put the crown on the guy, I want to see the crown being lived up to, and I want to see him get over that double-digit sack hump. You know what I'm saying? Because I really think personally, and I said this, and everybody thought I was crazy. I think Jordan Davis is going to be the guy that steps up and be the best defensive lineman we have this year. And people think I'm absolutely crazy, but I'm just like, JD's a different breed too. JD didn't need the talent that Jordan Davis, that Jalen Carter had, to get double team, to get triple team. It's his size, it's his athleticism. And if you've seen him, he even slimmed down a little bit more this year. He looking kind of slim out there. I'm a little bit worried. But I'm not really worried because that slim that we see on a picture is still like 340 pounds. Look at this guy. It's just like he looks kind of slim. He ain't that fat boy no more that everybody's worried about. He look kind of slim. He look kind of beastly. You can't teach size. That's one thing in football you cannot do is teach size. And that was his advantage. He's always been a great run stopper. When he's in a football game, in that middle of that defense, it's hard to run the football. But if you've seen that, like Vic Fangio said, at the end of the season, going into the playoffs, he started getting sacks. And if that carries over into this year, where now, he's getting all these sacks too, adding up to that game, he could be our number one guy going into the season. I know people think it's absolutely ridiculous, but I'm just saying he was a first-round draft pick too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just want them all to be dangerous, to be like, wow, we can't double him because of that guy, but we can't double him because of that guy. So it's like everybody contributing and everybody just like adding to that weaponry that we have. It's similar to offensively. Like that's why I think the stats might not favor any one guy because everybody can eat and they can rotate guys in. I mean, we haven't even talked about my favorite player on the D line yet, Jalen Hunt. I also love Azeez Ojulari pickup as well, and Josh Uche. So like I have high hopes for all these guys to get on the field.
What about Ty Robinson?
I love the potential, but I breeze right over Moro Ajomo. Moro Ajomo is a guy that I think is going to have a really big year as well, as in his role, not statistically household name. Ty Robinson's going to come in. Thomas Booker as well. Eat some of those reps left by Milton Williams, obviously left by Josh Sweat. D-line's just looking. So, I mean, I'm going to keep mocking these fans these rival fans, because if you guys think it was a super team last year, wait till this year. Like these guys are getting better, man. They're getting better. And that's what's crazy. It's not like a super team where we just bought up a bunch of established talent and they peaked at the one time and then they go downhill. Like, no, this is homegrown talent, and we like have waves of it, and we know it all and they don't. And they're going to be talking about Moro Ajomo the way they talk about Milton Williams when he left in free agency. And they're going to be talking about Jalen Hunt the way they talked about Josh Sweat. And it's just going to keep going from there because we just have so much young talent developing on this roster.
Because we did it and that was dominating, but they weren't even they're not even in their prime yet. They're just like young pucks.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They did that and they were young pucks. So I understand what you're saying. You think it was a super team last year. Wait this year when they got another year in their development. You know what I'm saying? Because they're all young as hell, man. These some young bulls out there that's going to get better and better every single year. And like you said, like you heard Vic say today about how, it's good with Jordan Davis getting more snaps this year. And then he said, he expects Jomo to do good. But then, like you said, Booker and the rest of these guys will definitely get some more. That's how they're going to split the Milton Williams type thing. But Milton Williams was nobody really until he had the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like,
man, homegrown talent.
Yeah.
3rd round pick. Plenty of teams could have drafted him, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Linebackers, let's go there. Because I think now we done hit a team that sucked at linebackers. And now we're like one of the best linebacker squads in the league, my guy. So how you like the linebacker squad? Do you think, all these guys it's going to be a problem to try to figure out where to play all these guys because all of them are going to get the ball? Because you see, not to get the ball, but get opportunities on the field. Because you see, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. right now is looking good. He's getting better every single year. You got Campbell. You got Dean looking great out there. Look like he's going to be back, the first half of the season, And then you got our boy Zach Bond. Like, how do you think this is going to shape out? And do you think there's a scenario where the Eagles trade like a Dean or a Trotter or something like that? Just because, like, you can, but you can't really have, that many linebackers, starting wise. We basically run what? A 3-4 for the most part, you know what I'm saying? Like 5-2. We run 5-2 a lot, where it's only really 2 linebackers. And you got 3 and possibly 4 of them back there. And I know people like backups, but
Yeah, I think the linebackers picture is pretty clear cut. I think, you have ZB and Jahan Campbell are your clear starters on day one, especially with Nakobe out. But I don't think you traded Nakobe Dean because of what he means to the Georgia core of our team and the leadership he brings. And you might be able to get him kind of coming back on a cheaper deal because he's not been a superstar. And I think the same about Keely Ringo. Him showing himself and them just trying to keep these guys together and them not all being the same monetary value. I think you can try to fit them all under the cap, but. Maybe some tough decisions need to be made, but I don't think they're going to ship someone out. And I think depth is really important. You have, one injury to an off-ball linebacker like Jihad or Zach, and next thing you know, you have Nakobe coming up, and you have Jeremiah Trotter, who's a young player who you really value in this organization.
Smallden, I heard, is playing great too.
And, Smile Munden is another guy that they really. And the thing about these guys also is that they play special teams, and that's valuable for a roster spot. You don't want to get rid of guys that play special teams. So I think they're going to stick around, and I think the linebacker competition again, healthy as ever, great as ever, young guys coming up, and a lot of good veteran leadership to work off.
But you think Jihad takes it from Dean no matter what? When both of them are healthy, Jihad's the starter.
Yeah, he's better.
You think?
Facts.
He said that confidently, dude. Like, yeah, he's better.
Look, even Trotter, man.
Because we all rooted for Dean, man. We all rooted for Dean.
I love Dean.
He had his opportunity. He had a great year last year.
Yeah.
He can't stay healthy, man. Look, he can't stay healthy, and you can't pay, top dollars for a linebacker that literally can't stay healthy. Like 3 straight years, injuries every year, right? The one good year he was having, man, bad luck happened in the playoffs, right? And now I think he's really going to start the season on the PUP list, right? He's not going to be able to play for at least the first probably 6 games. I don't know, but to me, if Trotter don't win this matchup after having a full training camp last season, at least knowing the playbook ahead of Jahan Campbell, that means that Jahan is that good. That means that he's that dude and he's catching on. And one thing about Vic, he gonna play the best player. Look, you don't care if you're a 10-year starter or a rookie. We saw that last year with Bradbury and Q, right? You kept on saying, well, Vic gonna play Bradbury. I'm like, no, it's not. It's the best player available, man.
Stop breaking up my Bradbury take.
Hey, look, you gotta eat it, man.
Bradbury
that's on you.
I didn't like the way everybody diss my boy.
I like to keep you accountable. I like to keep you accountable on this show. So look, I don't care what it is. But I think that Jahan Campbell is your play, is your move right here, man. Like, and him starting training camp, actually being able to participate, look, that's a game changer, man. Like, man, Bond and Campbell, man, you could, I can't wait.
Yeah, and Vic Fangio, when Oren Burks came in, I have 2 things about Vic Fangio, and I'd love to hear your guys' takes on this as well. So when Oren Burks came in off Nakobe Dean getting injured, he looked really good. And Vic also said he would have been comfortable playing Trotter. Number one, is Vic Fangio like a linebackers guru? Because like what he did with Zach Vaughn, he had Oren Burks looking like a stud. And then he goes out and he says things like, well, when you see Zach Vaughn play and you only saw him in a small percentage of packages where he played off ball, but when you see enough of how these guys move, how they're built, all that, their style of play, and you kind of just know. Zach Vaughn is 6'3", 240. Jahan Campbell is 6'3", 240. Does Vic Fangio have a type at linebacker? Because these 2 guys are like prototype, big, long, athletic, sideline to sideline linebackers that can tackle, that can cover, that can run. Like, and then he's also really good with linebackers. So you guys almost feel like paying linebackers. Well, we paid Zach Vaughn, but almost investing a little. We already invested our top guys, but the rest of it can kind of be built out to where if someone has to come in because of injury, Vic Fangio can get these linebackers, the backups, to look like starters.
Facts. And I really think what you were saying too, I really think it's time for Trotter, like you said, to make a stamp. Because we keep getting more linebackers. So it's either you're going to get your stamp or you're going to just be a thought of the past. Remember, we've had legacy here. What was that linebacker that his brother was like the best linebacker in the league? The long care.
Matthews.
And then we had, Matthew's brother from Oregon come in here think he was tight and he was nothing. You know what I'm saying? So this could be another Matthew situation if you don't go handle your business. But like, I still have faith. My Jeremiah Trotter being the best linebacker in Eagles history. He's coached up his son this all year long, and this offseason, like, son, this is your only window. His window's this small. Like you guys said, everybody's expecting Campbell to start. If not Campbell, Dean to come back and start. But right now, you have the mic right now. You know what I'm saying? You have the stage, and if it could be better for us for the future because we only got Bond for 3 years. He's an older cat too. Everybody forget, like, he's not no rookie. He's not no young cat. This guy been in the league for 7 years before he decided to be a linebacker. Yes, he was the best linebacker in the league, but it's not like he has he's got a longer in the 2. So I feel like if he can start and show that he deserves to stay on that field, it could be like a Trotter, Dean or Trotter Campbell moving forward in the longevity round. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would be ideal if Trotter just kind of stepped up and became kind of the heir apparent to Zach Vaughn. But, I just think they're going to keep shuffling guys through. They're going to keep drafting guys in later rounds. And, I don't think it's something we have to think about right now. I think Zach Vaughn and Jahan Campbell is going to be a hell of a linebacker duo for the next 3 years, as long as they're healthy. And, once EB is like 30 in his early 30s, he's probably going to leave. But
do you think Zach Vaughn drops at all, or do you think he keeps pace or gets better?
I think as long as the D-line plays the way they've been playing, active, effort up front, crushing the run, being aggressive, getting quarterbacks off their mark, I think that helps linebackers. And I think that they're in this system with the coaching they have. You also have to consider, like, talk about offense and how that all changes. Kellen Moore's gone, offensive coordinator, this and that. There's new shuffling pieces. The staff on Vic Fangio's side all stayed in place. You have the same linebacker coach, the same D-line, the same secondary coach. Vic Fangio's there. So he's got like a troop, and they are so familiar with everything. I think Zach Bond, it's all about the counterpunch. So they're going to attack the Eagles different ways. Teams are going to have, they're going to come out with so much fire. Like, this is our chance to beat the defending champions, this and that. So it's going to be about the adjustments. But Vic Fangio has been doing this for so long, and it's just been successful for so long that, like, I don't see a drop off. I mean, maybe
even with Bond, a lot of those plays are just like right place, right time type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't expect him to get this, the sacks, the fumbles, he made so many plays. You know what I'm saying? It's like I want to see him do it again, but is it realistic to believe that he's going to have another All-Pro best linebacker type season this year? So that's why I threw that out.
I think he definitely could have, a Pro Bowl season, man. But what he did this past season was unbelievable, man. It was like a borderline, like the best linebacker in the league. He came out of nowhere. Nobody was, expecting it. So, but it's hard to, repeat that type of performance. So, just like Patrick Mahomes, right? If you have a regular year, you just, oh my God, he dropped off because, that previous year was so great. Yeah. And that's what Zach Bond is, man. He had a outstanding. He should have won, Defense Player of the Year, in my opinion. But it is what it is. But right now, our linebacker situation is great, and I believe that we are in a great situation, man. If Jahan starts, man, this front seven, like, good luck trying to run against them, right? And with that being said, our back end is going to have more opportunities for tip, passes, interceptions, like CJ was getting, right? Opportunities when your pocket is collapsing, hands go up, tip ball everywhere. I think that this front seven could be ferocious.
Yeah, and that goal leads into what you said too, the back four. You know what I'm saying? We lost CJ, and he's kind of sad about it. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of a little bitter about it. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to build his home here in Philly, and I love CJ, and then you lost Slay, who's another starter. So that, regardless of how people feel about it, there's no set starter right now that replaces that. You know what I'm saying? Like CJ, you could say, yeah, he gave up some stuff, but that was back-to-back years. He had 6 interceptions. Last time he was here 6, this time he's around 6. So his play stayed consistent when he was on our team. That energy stayed. He had a lot of big hits. He had some forced fumbles. He had a lot of good football on our back end there. And then you look at a Darius Slay, who played arguably one of his better years last year. Besides being hurt, when he was hurt, when he was in a game, he was playing great. But, he did get hurt, and he's back and forth in and out of games. And we did have Rodgers come in for him, but then Rodgers is gone too. So how do you see the secondary shaping out, man?
I think it's the biggest question mark, and not in a bad way. You always come into a season with question marks, and I think it's the most unsure unit because of the young players and the losses that we took in the secondary. Just like you said, Darius Slay, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who I'm a huge fan of, by the way. I love C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and it's why I love Andrew Makuba so much, because I see a lot of the similarities in their game, and I see why they took him. And I didn't really know a lot about him when we drafted him, but after looking into him and looking up kind of his story and just why they'd be interested in him when he wasn't really on the radar prior to the draft, I could understand why. So I just love his style of play, and I think I'm excited for him, but at the same time, obviously you can't expect these young guys to immediately hit the ground running with the at the same rate as the veterans did. But it does give me a lot of confidence seeing what Vic Fangio was able to do with young players last year, and that's why I didn't really even bat an eye when a Jalen Ramsey came available or Jair Alexander. I just want to play our young players, and I'm confident in Keely Ringo as well, and then Dory Jackson's the veteran now that comes, and he's used to this kind of stuff. He's been kind of moving around, and he's used to coming into a new room and being able to kind of adjust and do whatever a team needs him to do. And I like that, the Eagles had interest in him prior when he signed with the Giants. They also had.
I did too. I'm a USC fan. I love Adore. Love Adore. He can play. Adore can run. I know he's a little older, but he can do some punt returning too, my guy.
Yeah.
Adore can take it to the house.
It's possible.
He can take it to the house, my guy.
We'll see about the special teams. I mean, that's a unit that's going to have to be sorted out as well with, like, JC was mentioning earlier about Jahan Dotson. But
do you think Ringo wins it, though?
Ringo? I do. I think he's going to win the job. But I think it's going to be treated a lot like how they treated Isaiah Rodgers, where he got some playing time. He came in and had some time when guys were off the field, obviously. I think depth's important. So Adoree Jackson's going to be important. And I just like how they stuck with their guys. They had interest in Adoree. They had interest in Uche and Azeez Ojulari at trade deadlines prior. So they even the guys they brought in from the outside are like guys they had interest in. So it was really just sticking with their guys and not going and overextending for some big trade or a splashy name. Like, it was just guys they truly feel like will fit right in. And I think it's going to be a developmental process with that secondary, but we're going to have to, have some confidence in those guys.
And with that safety spot too, everybody talks about Makuba, but Sidney Brown wants to win it bad. You know what I'm saying? But Sidney did, I know he was hurt, so he came back, at the end of the season. Like even Vic said, he didn't really have time to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? We were rolling, you know what I'm saying? And by the time he came back, we weren't even really practicing like that. We were not in shorts and t-shirt practices, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like he had an opportunity to really make his standpoint. I think Sidney is if he can slow down and stop over shooting things, you know what I'm saying, and actually stay focused, he could be a great safety back there. But then you got the Makuba. People forget about Seam too, another Georgia Bulldog that we picked up, that could at the late last season that could obviously come in here and do something. So do you think that last safety spot, who would you prefer to win it?
JC, you go first. I'll go second.
Look, I want a natural safety, man. You know how I felt about having a natural safety, man, because it's so unsure who the CB2 is going to be. You're going to need somebody back there that could have his back, right? We know that Q is going to do his thing. That Reed play that side anyway. But as far as, the safety that we have, look, I like Makuba, man. I like Makuba. Like, man, Sidney Brown to me, man, he's such a wild card, man. He just try to come in and lay the big hit and sometimes miss, sometimes get hurt. You're just like, come on, man. You are a safety, man. You are the last line of defense. You can't be just jumping in wild, man. B-Dog was good. Brian Dawkins, he was that true safety where he could come down in the pocket, hit you or get you back, right? And we don't have none of that on this team. So, and that's why I was a big advocate. I'm still in.
And here he goes.
I'm still a big advocate. If we get Justin Simmons,
oh my God.
I understand. Y'all understand. But having, our secondary, right, with Rango and the unknown position. This is a Super Bowl roster right now, man. Like, we can't take any chance. And I don't want to wait till week 4 or 5 and say, damn, man, we should have went and got a veteran safety. I understand that Reed Blankenship, but to me, there's a reason why he's not getting extended yet, right? Because right now we got to wait and see and play the wait and see game. But just for 1 year, man, you know what I mean? Hey, Makuba could learn from Simmons. But if we don't go out and get Justin Simmons, I like Makuba, man. I like his, his intangibles, his vision, his hard hitting ability, his cover. Like, I like everything. But Sidney Brown to me is a wild card.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like Makuba a lot more than any of the other safeties, obviously outside of Reed Blankenship on the roster right now. And Justin Simmons is the guy that you go and he's like when you pull the I saw Landon Dickerson say this about his little spin block in the Super Bowl. He said it was like his knee was hurting, so he pulled like the extra parachute after the first one failed, like skydiving. So I think that's kind of what Justin Simmons is too. He's like that last parachute. Like, okay, Makuba's not really looking like he can start. If Vic Fangio doesn't think so, then you go get Justin Simmons as your last resort. So I think we're gonna keep an eye on that. But I like that comparison. Buda Baker. I said Tyrann Mathieu. That's who he reminds me of. Undersized guy, small guy, but he flies around, rangy, can hit, willing tackler, and has coverage skills as well. And I just think he's going to develop into a really special player. But we're trying to repeat. So if Vic Fangio really truly isn't comfortable with him, then maybe you do go get a veteran. But I think Sidney Brown, another reason I love his roster spot. I don't like him as a starter, but I love his roster spot because he plays special teams. I think he's the best special teamer on our team.
There you go.
Keely Ringo as well kind of makes me sad that Keely's going to play on defense a lot because he's a really good special teams player too. So hopefully they play him on special teams and he doesn't, nothing bad happen. He didn't get hurt last year, but I think he'll play on special and start on defense. So Ringo and Sidney Brown are so good on special teams. So I want to see that continue, and I want Sidney to focus on that and not, worry too much about, anything else, because I just think if he was good enough to start, I think it would have happened already. And that's,
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Remember what Howie said too, right? Howie said, hey, look, Howie just said it, man. We got 13 picks next year. Look, hey, we're trying to win another Super Bowl. So everything is on the table. Mm-hmm. Trades, give up some picks. He doesn't care, man. So if those guys on the roster are not cutting it, I mean, they're young guys anyway. So it's not like, oh my God, he has to prove himself or he's walking next year. Hey, it is what it is. I mean, this is what our window is open. Our whole office is coming back. Defense. The only question mark is that back three, because Q, hey, he's good, right? It's the other side that we got to worry about, to me. So if somebody's out there, Asante Samuel Jr., I don't know about his injury, of what's going on with that. I mean, he's still out there for some reason. So if any of our guys on the roster is not, working out, remember every year Howie Roseman does a trade in August. So we got to keep that in mind too. So if Vic Fangio say, hey, look, man, hey, the season is a couple weeks away. This ain't happening. Hey, go out and find me somebody. Hey, that's when I see, hey, pull a parachute.
I wish Honey Badger played for us too. Like, that's one of my favorite safeties of all time too. He's another guy that was really good. I wanted him to play with us before he went to the Chiefs. I wanted him to play with us before he went to the last team he went to, man. Like, Honey Badger's good. And Honey Badger, if you want to come out of retirement for 1 year deal, I'm pretty sure I'll always hook you up with a nice little check. Okay, my guy, come play with the Eagles. Sure.
That's why I'm rooting for Makuba so hard, because I love his play style. Like, that's my favorite kind of safety. And I think that's how Dawkins played early in his career, when he was a little leaner and not as muscular. He kind of became that big hitter in like 03, 04, and later when he kind of lost a step. But early in Dawkins' career, he was that same kind of guy, flying around the field, all around the ball. Not the biggest guy, but just the guy, an effort guy. And I'm rooting for Makuba. I'm really rooting for Makuba.
Yeah.
Hey, let's get to the coaches, man. Nick Sirianni, Super Bowl champion Nick Sirianni, man.
Best coach in the league.
Flowers has been growing for a while now, Flowers been going. Do you think that he is one of those coaches that's going to be like the Andy Reid's, the freaking, Belichick's, you know what I'm saying? We doubted him up to this point, and he's been to 2 Super Bowls, playoffs 4 straight years. Do you think that even though he's a little awkward compared to these other guys, he can continue doing it, man, and keep winning Super Bowls?
Of course.
I think he's going to be like a John Harbaugh, man. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard for me to say Andy Reid, right? Andy Reid is a great offensive mind and one of the best quarterback coaches, play designer, and NFL history, right? So to me, like John Harbaugh, he's, people love to play for him. We respect him. You know what I mean? Like,
John Harbaugh, they got Super Bowls, man.
Huh?
He only got 1, right?
He has 1.
Yeah. I mean, but no, as far as coaching go, right? You can't compare to Andy Reid.
I know what you mean, like a CEO style head coach, where he's not like an offensive coordinator, he's not a defensive coordinator. He's just like overall, like he's a guy that delegates responsibility, knows how to bring the best out of the team, and has responsibilities in that way, and game management, and being a player's coach, being a guy everyone loves to play for, sending the right message, setting that culture. I think that's a really good comparison with John Harbaugh, where people don't put him in that same conversation as, an Andy Reid or a Bill Belichick, because of, that exact, thing right there, is he doesn't like call plays. But I think one of the biggest things about coaches like that, and the biggest skill that Nick Sirianni has, is like his humility and being humble. He's not like selfish. They offered him the same thing that they offered Doug after that bad collapse in 2023. They said, look, man, we're going to get these coordinators out here. We're going to bring guys in. And like Doug Peterson after 2020 said, no, I want to bring my own guys in. They said, all right, you're out. Sirianni said, "All right, go ahead, do it. Do whatever you guys want to do," and I'm on board with it, and just adapted to it. And they kept him around. They won a Super Bowl. So I think Jeffrey Lurie, when he said in 2021 when we hired Sirianni, he's going to. We hired him because not just the coach he is today, but what he can become. I think he's becoming that right now, and I think it's going to be a long time with him here and our window being open with him. And
people don't realize too, though, with the Belichick's and the Andy Reid's, like when they started winning their Super Bowls, they weren't calling plays. Andy Reid wasn't calling plays when he started winning Super Bowl. It's when he stopped calling plays when they actually won it. He was a good team. When he stopped calling plays, Eric Bieniemy started calling the plays. That's when he won a Super Bowl. Even Belichick with defense, when he stopped calling the defense, he had what's that dude's name? He was on our defense coordinator. He sucked.
Matt
Patricia. When he started giving over the rights to Patricia, and that's when they were winning. I think when you are one of those type coaches, no matter what, you kind of got to give it up. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't control the whole team by being locked in on one position. And I think, like you said, all those guys learned from it. I even say, like you said, Nick Sirianni's learned from it. Even though we know Nick be having this, you can tell the games Nick having when he has his handprint on the game plan. You know what I'm saying? We go out there, the first 20 plays are like 15 passes and 5 runs. We're like, get the ball to Saquon. What are you doing? That's when Nick's out there, hey, we're going to do my thing. All right, cool. Go do what you got to do. So, hey, man, this team's looking good, man. But, hey, before I get you out of here, I like to just say, man, like I feel like you will be the perfect guest to do it with. I want to do an all-time Eagles team with you right now real fast. We're going to do it real short and sweet. You know what I'm saying? We're going to give me 2 quarterbacks. Who will be your starter? Who would be your backup for quarterback all time as a fan?
Okay, I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts as my starter, obviously, and backup. I'm gonna go unconventional. I mean, maybe, but I'm gonna say Nick Foles, just because as a
backup, no Donnie. Oh,
Nick Foles as a backup himself is the best backup I've ever seen. Like, I don't know about bringing Donovan off the bench or Randall Cunningham. So if we're talking about actually playing a game, I'll take a guy that's actually got experience in that relief position in Nick Foles and a Super Bowl MVP. So I know he's coming up in a clutch situation if need be.
Give me your top 2 running backs.
Top 3?
Yeah, 3. Let's go 3. That's it.
Okay. Yes. I mean, Saquon number 1. I mean, it takes a lot for me to be won over by an Eagle in 1 year, but it happens. So Saquon's obviously number 1. I'm gonna go number 2. It's a personal favorite of mine, Brian Westbrook. And then I'll throw Shady McCoy in there at 3. Though I don't really like the temperament that he's shown on those talk shows.
Yeah,
I'll say football skill wise, I got to take you. I can't be too biased over how you talk. I need to see on the field, so I'll take him as my number 3.
Okay, let's see how good you are. Give me one fullback. Your favorite fullback.
Oh, favorite fullback. Man, I love the guy from 04, Josh Perry. Honestly, he played for us 1 year.
Never heard that one.
Yeah, and just because we went to the Super Bowl, and I love that 04 season, so I'll take him.
No Richie or Weaver?
I hate Richie because he's I forgot about Leonard Weaver.
Yeah, Weaver.
I had to watch his knee explode live right in front of my face. It like ruined my whole life. But I like Thomas DePay too, and Cecil Martin from the early 2000s. But no, I don't like Richie because I don't like his attitude either, and he's a fullback, so I can leave him off the team because of his attitude.
Let's go 4 receivers because there's a lot of good ones you put in there.
AJ Brown and T.O. are number 1 and 2. Like, that's just easy work. 2 physical phenoms, and then I'll say Devontae Smith at 3 and Deshaun Jackson at 4. Honestly,
yeah,
I like Devontae slipping in there now. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, agree.
Tight ends. Give me your top 2.
Top 2. I'll go Zach Ertz. I always loved Zach Ertz. Now, Commanders though, he's a command. I kind of
hate it.
Take Zach Ertz, and then I'm gonna take
Selleck.
I was gonna say my guy Chad Lewis, early 2000s. Donovan McNabb safety blanket.
I like Lewis.
Goddard wouldn't be a bad pick either, and Selleck is a stud too. So not all 4 of those guys are awesome.
But you got to pick the 2.
I'll take Chad Lewis. I'll take
Chad Lewis and Zach Ertz. I like it. Give me a starting 5 line.
Starting 5 offensive line. Okay, left tackle. I'm gonna go with Jason Peters. Jason Peters, absolutely. Left guard, I'm going to go with I'll take Landon, honestly. Landon Dickerson. Center, Jason Kelsey. Right guard, I'm going to go Brandon Brooks. And then right tackle, Lane Johnson.
Yeah.
Ooh, left off some good ones, though. Yeah, that's good, though. I like it. Let's go defensive line. Give me your front four.
Up front, I'm going Corey Simon. Hold on. I'm going to go Jerome Brown.
Ooh, okay.
Brown, tribute to him. I'm going to take next to him. Oh my gosh, D tackle. I'm just going really biased. I'm going Jalen Carter.
Jalen.
His upside is just insane right now, and I just like, I'm not saying he's like an all-timer yet. I'm going a little different on this. I'm going with like who I think on the field would be like the best team to play like on the field. Mm-hmm. So I like Jerome Brown, Jalen Carter, two absolute young studs. And just I just love those two. And then on the edges, I'm going with Reggie White. Yeah, and then I'm gonna go with I'll go BG. Honestly, BG just played for a long time, absolute warrior for us, and he'll do whatever it takes to win and do whatever you need. So I'll take BG.
I like that.
I'll sneak the freak in there. Curse,
yeah.
I like Trent Cole too.
Trent Cole.
Oh yeah. His Curse was great in the league, kind of, but his injuries slowed him down too.
Yeah.
In Philly,
yeah.
So, but yeah, he was.
We're running a 4-3, so we're gonna go 3 linebackers.
All right, in the middle, I'm gonna take Jeremiah Trotter. On the outside, I'll take Carlos Emmons. Carlos Emmons, and then I'll take on the other outside, I'll take Nigel Bradham. 2017 Nigel Bradham was one of the best linebackers I've ever seen in an Eagles uniform. So I'll take them.
Let's go 3 cornerbacks.
3 corners. Okay, so I'm gonna go outside. Asante Samuel on one side because I need those picks. He was such a ball hawk. I love that. And then I want clamps on the other side, so I'll take Darius Slay. Absolutely locking guys down. And we don't have a lot of physicality, so in the nickel, I'll take Cooper DeJean just straight up.
No Brendan Boykins.
Nope. And it would have been Al Harris anyway. I would have taken Al Harris too.
Okay.
As my nickel. Someone that's running sideline and tackling guys, and Cooper DeJean's like one of those physical nickel corners. So I need that.
I need that. That's the first Coop too. I like it. Safeties. Let's go 3.
E-Dawk, obviously number 1. Absolutely love him. And then I said it earlier. I'm a huge fan. C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I don't care that he played 2 separate years with us. I absolutely love him. Him and Dawkins on the same field would be just like so fun to watch.
That's nasty though. You think about that? That's kind of nasty.
Yeah.
Then give me the backup that's gonna rotate in there.
Give me Michael Lewis. Played in 2000, early 2000s. Hitman. Like I loved him too. Him and Dawkins was fun to watch. That would be a great trio right there.
Let's go offensive coordinator.
Brad Childress. 04. 04.
Absolutely. Defensive coordinator,
Jim Johnson. Again, I'm biased. Early 2000s, like that's my era. So I'm going Jim Johnson.
And the head coach leading his troops.
Head coach, you know what? It's crazy to say, but I'm going with Nick Sirianni.
Nick, hey, that's not too crazy. Nick's the man.
Not crazy at all.
I forgot to even say we need special teamers too. Give me a kicker, kickoff returner.
Kicker. Jake Elliott's awesome, but again, early 2000s, I'm going David Akers. And then kick returner, 04 J.R. Reed, if you guys remember him. Absolute monster. That year, I'm going J.R. Reed. He tore his ACL jumping over a fence.
He's went a lot of players.
But I'm going with J.R. Reed, yeah.
J.R. Reed. I like that. Hey, that's a nice squad there, my guy. But we're about to get out of here, man, right now. But you did bring something up. Since you put Coop in there, right? Do you think Coop is better than Quignon? Or more valuable than Quignon on this team?
It's hard to say. I've been asked that before too. I would say they're about the same because it's so valuable to have what Cooper DeJean does in the NFL today. But then also like having that guy that can go one-on-one with like an alpha wide receiver is also very valuable because there's so many good wide receivers in the NFL. So I think they just do different things, and I think I don't think I can value one over the other. I think they're just.
I feel like Coops get a lot more praise than Quignon.
Yeah, I think
because he moves around a lot, right? I mean, he has more opportunities to actually make the plays, you know what I mean, versus on the island, you know,
exactly.
right? That don't, you know, is not sexy.
Quinion's trying to not be mentioned. Cooper DeJean is more in the action. So it's like, the less you hear about Quinion Mitchell, the better. The more you hear about Cooper DeJean, the better. It's like, and then Cooper DeJean's marketable. He's a marketable guy. Like, he's a cornerback that you don't often see because he's white. And, you know, it is what it is. He probably dropped in the draft because people didn't think he
stays. Does he stay in the slot forever? His career? Is he going to be like a Boykins? You remember Boykins trying to move out to the outside? He was trash.
Slot and safety.
Stay in the slot / safety spot.
Yeah. He's a hybrid. He's that kind of player. And I thought that's what he was coming into the league too. Just a guy that's really active around the ball. So you want him around the line of scrimmage and you want him around the action because that's what he's good at. He's not, I don't think he's a guy that you want, you know, running up the sideline with wide receivers. It's just not, I don't think that's really where you want him in the action.
Hey man, thank you again, Tom, man. Hey, shout out to Tom, man. Make sure you guys hit that like, hit that subscribe, and go follow Tom. Let them know where they can follow you at, my guy.
Tom Stakes on Twitter, just my name on here, but you just put it together. So it's like Tom's Takes, but it's Tom Stakes. So at Tom Stakes, and yeah, that's really it.
Cool. I didn't even notice that. Tom Takes and Tom Stakes.
That's how it started. That's where the name came from. So yeah, it's also the same on Instagram. I'm not really on Instagram like that. It's more like a personal page, but Twitter, you'll see a lot of football stuff, and that's where I drop all my stuff. So you'll if you're watching and you're out there looking for somebody to follow, I'm the guy, man. Follow me and see the opinions and see the arguments and all that junk that I put myself through on a daily basis.
Give me your take before we get you out of here. Final words, and what record do you think, way too early record, you think the Eagles going to have this year?
Man, I like you said, it is early, but I love this mindset of this team. I think they're really locked in right now, and they're just so committed to coming out and just doing it again. So I'm really excited for that. And I think the schedule got a little tougher this year. So I'm going to say 13-4, just dropping one game from last year. But you never know. You know, you just never know how the year's going to present itself. And, you know, as long as the team's relatively healthy, I think they're still the best team in the NFL. So get us to the playoffs healthy and get in there and get a top seed and get some home playoff games. And, you know, I think we have a good chance to go back. So
repeat. Say it out loud, Tom. Say what you said.
I don't want to use the word. I'm on that Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata.
Champions this year?
We're just new champion, 2025 champs. Come on, man.
Let's go.
Yes. All right, man. JC, any final words for you today?
Look, man, hey, just be excited, man. Just be excited. New team, new year, new season, man. Of course, I love our player mindset. Hey, we're not champions. We are trying to be champions again. We still going out to hunt, right? I mean, a lot of young guys, a lot of hungry guys. They want to feel this experience again. And those that's coming in want to know how it feels. So, like, overall, man, be excited about this team. Do not start talking trash if the season don't start going the way you want it. Just be patient, because this is going to be a harder schedule. People is going to come out swinging. Just be patient, man, and everything going to be fine.
And I'm going to say, talk trash, because this schedule is not going to be harder, because half of those teams that we thought were good last year aren't the same team this year, and we're definitely getting better than we were last year, and we dominated teams last year. So be on the lookout for a clean sweep this year. We're going to be whooping ass and taking names, my guy. It's going to be awesome. We're repeating as champions. I know y'all don't like to say it, but I'm going to say repeat champs, and fly Eagles fly, my guy. And we out. Peace.
What's going on, everybody, man? And welcome to the